All right, fellas, what's going on? Denonu here, the man with the biggest and the most blackest privilege on YouTube. And this is going to be a follow-up video to the previous Defenders video that I put up yesterday. And with this one here, this one won't be nowhere near as long since I pretty much got all of my normal thoughts out. But I wanted to make this video here because this is going to have spoilers in it, and I just want to give my thoughts on the particular spoilers and things like that. First off, like I said in my previous commentary, The Defenders as a show was okay. In this video here, we're just going to be talking about a few of the flaws that I saw in it, and I could just give my whole thoughts on, whereas in the other video I had to kind of hold things back because, you know, I didn't want to give away spoilers. The biggest thing on the plate that we have is the ending threat. All right? And the ending threat in The Defenders is lackluster, to say the least, to be honest. It was... I figured it was going to be like a mystical enemy, something mystical in general, or, you know, just something bigger than what it was. Because the Hand's whole reason for taking down New York and all of that stuff was just to get more of this. They never said what it was. I assumed it was powdered dragon bones that was down in New York, because when the five fingers of the Hand, when they left Kunlun, they, I guess, already had like a finite source of this substance. I don't know if it was the powder itself, because when they brought back Elektra and a couple other times, they brought back other people throughout Daredevil and things like that, they've always shown like this black powder that they kind of mix with this, I guess, oil or something like that, that where it looks like oil. And then when they pour it in the thing, when they have somebody in like little casket thing, that somehow brings them back to life after hours, days, whoever knows. It looked like minutes though. Maybe like an hour, maybe a couple hours. It just would bring them back to life, right? I figured they would fully explain that when it came to this, or the next time they showed the Hand, because I could have swore they brought back Elektra already. I mean, maybe I could be wrong, but I could have swore in Daredevil. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else they brought back, but I remember in I think it was Daredevil season 2, they had like a warehouse and a basement, and they brought back somebody in it. So I thought that could be Elektra, but I haven't seen Daredevil season 2 since it came out, so I'm probably wrong about that. But I remember. Also remembering in Daredevil, I thought I could have swore Stick killed the Black Sky, and maybe that's what I'm remembering. Because I remember the Black Sky being this other Asian kid or whatever that they were trying to bring into New York. And they somehow stopped that, and I thought, because I remember they had an episode where Stick wanted to just kill the kid, and Daredevil was like, no, we don't have to kill him. And that was like the argument that they was having in that episode. I could have swore, Stick said he handled it. So, I mean, I figured that maybe he killed the Black Sky, but I could be wrong. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen Daredevil in a while, so I may be misremembering things, but I could have swore the Black Sky was somebody else. Now, if they killed that somebody else and somehow resurrected the Black Sky in Elektra, that's cool. But also, like the Dragon Bones, the threat of Elektra being the Black Sky, there was nothing, YouTube. Like, nothing at all. It was just... I figured they were going to show her do something. Because it's like, okay, we brought you back, and... Alright, learn how to do martial arts, here you go. Why do you need random, Elektra? For what? Oh, to be just another badass ninja? What about that guy Nobu or whatever from, the Daredevil fought that whooped his ass? It's like you already have people like him. Why do you need Elektra in there? And if the Black Sky was so important, explain how. Explain why was she like this badass weapon that could do something that nobody else can do. They didn't show her doing shit. Like, besides having like a little bit of super strength, that's all I saw. I mean, that was something that kind of made me mad because I'm like, you pump her up and this Black Sky up for like 2 seasons worth of episodes, and then when you see her, it's like it don't do shit. At least give me the Blood God thing from like Blade. Well, was it Blade 1? Give me something like that. Have something mystical happen, and boom, now she got these badass supernatural powers. Dude, give me something, you know? Oh man, that was such bullshit. The Dragon Bones, again, I didn't like that either. Like I said before, that was a stupid MacGuffin. They could have easily did something else. I don't know what. I'm not a writer. I'm a comic book fan, so I could think of something more badass that they could have did and have the Defenders fought. Again, like I said in my last video, it would have been so badass for them to just say like, oh, the hand is trying to get to this thing that's sealed up. We don't know what it is. And then when you see it, if Marvel had any balls, they would have just been like, look, that's Fin Fang Foom just sleeping in there. Or something. Let's just say you had good dragons and bad dragons. If you wanted to say, fuck Fin Fang Foom's comic book origin, because that's kind of out there for the Marvel Universe right now. So let's say you didn't want to go with that. For those of you who don't know, his origin in the comics is he's a part of an alien race of these dragons or whatever that has all this badass technology. And one of their ships crash lands on Earth. He gets stranded. Parts of his ship and his, let's say, the engine core that powers the ship, they become the Mandarin's rings. The 10 rings of the Mandarin. That's his storyline. If you didn't want to go with none of that, let's just say Kung Lun had good dragons, and there was also bad dragons, and Fin Fang Foom was one of these bad dragons. So you could say that they couldn't defeat him, but they sealed him up at the bottom of New York. Or let's say they thought they could control him to take over the world. Do something like that. Have it be like a low tier threat, meaning like you don't have to have no nuclear bombs, nothing like that. But it's a big enough threat to where you can mention it. Like they can mention a few times like, oh man, like Fin Fang Foom, like there's a legend going around that if he ever woke up, he would just be unstoppable. And let's say don't ever show him and just have the Defenders at the end stop the hand like seconds away from, let's say, opening this thing or waking it up, and have like them at the end look at it and be like, maybe we should open it up to see what it is, like they're curious. And then you could have like Stick or Iron Fist to be like, nah, we're just gonna leave that there. We don't know what it is. We're not gonna care what Fin Fang Foom is. Just leave him there. And then let's say at the end there's like an end credit scene. If you wanted to bring Fin Fang Foom into something else, maybe a movie, maybe another Netflix show, maybe do the Mandarin right, give him his own shit if that's what they wanted. Show, let's say, like that wall that Danny Rand had to break, show like a crack in the wall or something, or let's say during the fight the wall got messed up somehow, so it's not sealing him up anymore, and show like it break away and things like that, so that it's like, all right, he's gonna get out. Do something like that. I think that would have been a hell of a lot better, YouTube. I really do. The ending kind of fell flat for me. The whole, oh, let's just fight Daredevil and a bunch of generic, not Daredevil, I'm sorry, damn. Let's fight Elektra and a bunch of generic hand ninjas. Well, I can't even call them ninjas because they weren't dressed like fucking ninjas. Another thing that pissed me off. Like, if you're going to do the hand are a Japanese ninja clan. Kind of like, just like I said in my last video, if you saw the Wolverine, all those ninjas he fought at the end, they were technically the Hand. Just they couldn't call them the Hand because Marvel owns the right to that. That's what the Hand is. Ninjas. Evil, supernatural, magical, badass ninjas. Not people from across the world and not dressing them up to be like ninjas in no way, shape, or form. I understand. And maybe it would have made sense because I know the whole ninja theme. I mean, if you want to take it there. The whole modern interpretation of what ninjas are, wearing the black outfits, staying in the darkness. I know a lot of that is just over glorified that they made up to make the Japanese plays and stuff sound better. And when they were singing them and things like that. I know that's not what ninjas actually wore. Maybe they were going with that kind of sort of thing, but they should have had somebody at least mention it. Let's say like somebody comes up and be like, oh, the Hand, they're like there's this ancient group of ninjas that that nobody's ever heard about. They run things from behind the scenes or whatever. And then let's say you meet Sigourney Weaver in this and it'd be like, oh, what did you expect us to wear? This is the modern age. We don't wear ninja shit no more. Have a throwaway line, something, because otherwise people like myself are going to be like, this is not the hand. And I said that in, I want to say back in the Iron Fist too, when I made a video talking about that. They had a couple episodes where they went to China. The hand in this is more Chinese than Japanese. I know that's most people. Like if you don't know the cultures, you can't tell the difference. If you want to be super ignorant about it. But to me, that bugged me because the hand ninjas are Japanese. They're not Chinese. That's a big cultural distinction between Chinese and Japanese when it comes to a lot of their cultures. So, but what it bugged me because it's like the props department for all of these Netflix shows, whenever they show the hand, they have more Chinese weapons than Japanese weapons. It's not that big a deal to most people, but to me, that's like, if they're supposed to be Japanese, they should be using all Japanese weapons. Katanas, ninja equipment, things like that. They shouldn't be using like Chinese swords and other types of, Chinese weapons that they had. It just doesn't make sense from a cultural standpoint. And then you have the 5 fingers of the hand are like, they might as well have been the Power Rangers. You had a black one, a white one, Hispanic. It's like, come on. You're supposed to be a Japanese ninja clan. The only one who looked like the hand was the one Japanese guy. And he was my favorite out of everybody. Because Sigourney Weaver didn't do shit. She was just there talking. I thought she was going to do something badass at the end, but then they have Elektra just stab her in the back so she dies out of nowhere. The only other one I liked besides the Japanese guy was, I think her name was Madame Gao, the Chinese lady. She was putting in work throughout all the Netflix shows, so I like her as a character. The one black African guy that they pumped up that was going to be the shit, where he was like, oh, you don't want to fight this guy. He could hit you at like 7 points on your body or whatever and just stop your blood from going to your body and kill you. Something like that, Stick said, right? And then next time you showed him, Luke Cage was like, yeah, I just whooped his ass. Here you go. I already got him. Like, what? And in the scene before that, you just showed him whooping your ass. So it's like, what the fuck happened? Doesn't make sense, YouTube. And for them to be as ancient as they are, because at least all the members of the hand, the fingers, they were supposedly thousands and thousands of years old, and they all came from Kunlun. Now, unless Kunlun is some multicultural melting pot society from back in the day, which it shouldn't be, why are all of them all different races? Again, not a big thing for most people. Most people probably won't care. But to me, that kind of sort of bugs me because, I know the source material. In Iron Fist, Kung Lung was all like, for the most part, every time they showed it, if you ever seen like a Buddhist monastery or something like that, there was a bunch of like Asian monks 9 times out of 10. Every once in a while, you might get a big Asian guy who may look white, but he's still Asian, so to speak. So it's, for one to be African, one to be white, one to be Japanese, it's like for them to be all across the world like that doesn't make sense. Really doesn't, especially for back in the day. Number one, how'd they get across the world like that? Ships were only invented so long ago. So it just doesn't make sense, YouTube. Because you had, I think Sigourney Weaver, I think she was American or maybe close to an American as you can get. Then you had one African guy who was a warlord in Africa. And then you had the Japanese guy. And then Madame Gao was Chinese. So it's just like, and there was one other guy that they mentioned. The other guy, the one Hispanic guy, the one guy from Iron Fist and Colleen Wing's storyline in Iron Fist, her teacher or whatever, him just popping up and be like, oh, I'm the member of the hand. Like, fuck no, I hated that. That was dumb. They should have killed him off and just brought in somebody else. I don't know who, but make up somebody. Bring in somebody else like they brought in the Japanese hand guy. He was the best one out of all of them, given how he carried himself and all of that. He was the most believable. Sigourney Weaver being the leader of the hand didn't make a whole lot of sense because, again, she didn't do anything. They were like a council of people, but she ran them. It was just weird. They should have made it just a council altogether and then just had them all make equal decisions within, the hand organization, so to speak. I'm trying to think what else didn't I like. It's not a whole lot. Still think they should have made Iron Fist do some more dynamic martial arts poses. I mean, I'd have loved to see some flying jump kicks. You know, why doesn't Danny Rand know how to use the Iron Fist ability? That's still bugging me. Maybe that's from a story standpoint. Maybe they, want him to grow as a character. But I could have swore at the end of Iron Fist he was able to use it whenever he wanted to. But then in this, it's, sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. It was weird. Did like his scenes, however. His scenes in Defenders was 100 times better than they were in Iron Fist. I will say that. Everybody else coming back to play their part, I was pretty much on board with 100%. Daredevil was on point. I love the interactions that they made with each other whenever they would talk about being heroes or superheroes, or whenever Daredevil would put on a costume, Jessica Jones would be like, oh, look, that's a fucked up costume or whatever. Loved all the little inside jokes and stuff. Also loved the whole Iron Fist bonding with Luke Cage, because it's like I want, Power Man and Iron Fist. I want Marvel to make that happen. That would be pretty cool. Let's see what else. Trying to think of something else that really stood out, but Misty Knight's character. Maybe it's just me. I like her as a character. I love her character in the comics. She's just bitchy for no reason. I understand she's doing her job, and all that stuff, but to me, she was annoying as hell. Tell me what's going on. And I'm like, why isn't somebody just telling her what's going on? Because somebody could have been like, look, if we tell you what's going on, they will kill you. We got this police station. They'll kill everybody in this police station. They will kill their families. They will kill every member of their extended family. That would have shut her right the hell up right there. It's like, realize that police need to put in their place when you compare them to the Hand. Like, it's a big difference. You can't just shoot these guys, right? I wish that somebody would have just came out there and told her to shut her up, because like her whole plot point being in there, I really didn't like. I mean, it was cool in Iron Fist and in Jessica Jones or whatever, but here it's like it was kind of redundant. I guess the heroes needed some place to put the people they care about, so I can understand why the police department has a place and why she's there and all that, but she was just way into their business a little bit too much, even when her boss wasn't doing it. You know what I'm saying? It would be different, like if, she was put on the spot and the boss was like, look, do this or they're fired. He mentioned that to her a couple times, but he seemed like he didn't care about the Hand. It was more about, catch Luke Cage or catch Matt Murdock. Like, he was worried about them, not necessarily the Hand. He didn't give a fuck about them. And that's probably because the Hand, was into everything, so they probably bought off the cops and whatever. So I would have had her stuck in that, but let's say Commissioner Gordon spot of her going after or trying to be the good cop in a police department that's full of corrupt cops or crooked cops that are willing to look the other way. That would have been a more interesting way to take her character. And then have her realize that, okay, people are corrupt. I can't fight against the system, so I got to rely on other vigilantes, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, whatever, to try to help people and get the job done when we obviously can't do it because we're fucked up. That would have made a better story in my eyes, but that's just my opinion on that. I will say I do like the fact that her arm gets chopped off. I was feeling that. I didn't think that Marvel was going to do that, but I know in the comic book she gets an adamantium arm. It's not necessarily the same adamantium that Wolverine has. I think hers is Antarctic vibranium or Antarctic adamantium, something like that, where it can liquefy other metals and things like that. I think they're going to bring that in next time they show her, because I think they had a spot at the end where Colleen was like, Danny owns this hospital. It's high tech and all that. The only reason for that line that she said that was because, like, look, bitch, you're going to get this badass cool bionic arm. That's the only reason why she had that line, I think. So I think they're going to bring her back with that. Colleen Wing was another interesting character. I liked her in Iron Fist, and I like her in this. I can't really say anything bad about her character. She looked good. Her fighting was decent. I don't know her character all that much in the comics. I know she teams up with Misty Knight a few times, so I'm not super familiar with her character, so I can't really compare how her character is to her comic book counterpart. I'm not even going to try to make up and lie and be like, oh yeah, it's just like her character. I have no idea. She was not a character I follow in comics. I'm trying to think outside of that. Outside of that, it was pretty much good. I mean, every character had their own little mini story arc. I mean, I wish it was longer. I know I mentioned it in my last video. I wish it was 13 or 14 episodes versus 8, because I feel like they had to kind of squish the story together. It didn't feel like it was rushed, but with more episodes, you can flesh out more of the story that you do have. Maybe they could have explained a few more plot points. Maybe they could have had a better ending, you know. So with more time, they could have did more things with it. Maybe made it even better. So I don't know why they cut it down to 8 episodes. I really don't. Maybe it was always going to be 8 episodes, or maybe this has something to do with that Marvel Disney deal with Netflix, where they're breaking away and starting their own Netflix type thing. So maybe they couldn't get a full 13 episodes, but I have no way of knowing what's going on with that. I'm hoping that's not the case, but I'm just not sure. Another thing that kind of bugged me, not necessarily it bugged me, but I mean, they had to show him living, but Daredevil at the end, him and Elektra had a building fall on him, but somehow that didn't kill Daredevil. I'm hoping they explain that because maybe in Daredevil season 3, maybe he's going to explain how he made it out and everything. Because right now, his ass should have been dead. Just saying. Throwing that out there. There is no way he could have survived the building dropping on him. I mean, yeah, Daredevil is Daredevil. I mean, he's the shit. But he's still human. You know, Elektra, for all intents and purposes, is still human. So let's say even if you did give her some magical abilities or whatever, and let's say he died and she brought him back, you know, let's just say that. Again, he still had a building on top of him. And if somehow Elektra used the dragon bones or whatever to bring him back, like she was brought back, how the Hand bring back their people, again, still had a building fall on top of him. So even if she did bring him back, or let's say, you know, you're still buried underneath the building, so he can't, get out of that. So I don't know what's going on. Unless they have some ancient magical portal down there that they didn't tell nobody about. I don't see how he could have made it out of there alive. Really can't. Unless they bring in maybe like another superhero. Unless Daisy Johnson from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came in there and quaked her way down there and, stopped the building from falling on them. I mean, something, had to happen. Don't really know what. I mean, maybe Lockjaw from the Inhumans came in there and teleported them out. Who knows? That would be a really unique twist if they did do something like that. But I'm hoping maybe in Daredevil season 3 that they explain that, because that's kind of weird. I don't know what storyline they're going to be going with the comic books. I'm going to have to watch the ending again and then read up on a couple modern popular Daredevil stories and see if I can see where they're going with that. Because I know Daredevil had a recent run in the comic books where he had a demon possess him and he took over the Hand. So now that the Hand doesn't have any leaders, maybe that's where they're going to go with season 3 with Daredevil. Maybe he's going to become the leader of the Hand and become evil, and maybe Elektra or somebody else got to go and, get him back, so to speak. Interesting to see where they go with that. I was hoping that they would have like a Punisher kind of teaser in here too, somewhere. Show him drive by in his battle van, something. Who knows? Shoot a hand, shoot a couple hand members or something like that, but he didn't show up. But outside of that, I mean, like I said, it's the Defenders was good. I just think that it could have been better. And at the end of the day, as a fan, that's what hurts me the most, because it's like, I feel like this could have been the Avengers on Netflix and actually been the shit, but it just wasn't as, I don't know, maybe I was too hyped for it, YouTube, because it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. And maybe that's just my, fault for getting super hyped for it. I was kind of hoping that there was going to buff everybody's power level, so to speak. Because, I want Luke Cage in Netflix to be as strong as he is in the comic books, and he's nowhere near as strong. Same thing goes for like Jessica Jones, and I get it. They're working on that TV budget, but it's like I want to at least see some kind of weird things. Like Danny Rand and his Iron Fist can do a whole lot of things, in the comic books. But in this, it's like all he ever did was punch people and make them go across the room. That's it. Like Danny Rand in the comic books, like he can heal people with it. He can put his hand on somebody's chest to like heal him a little bit, or he could do other things with his chi, with his body to himself to heal, or he could charge up both fists for one, not just one. So I don't know where they're taking his character. I'm assuming, like I said before, that maybe they nerfed him so that maybe as they push on with season 2 or 3, if he does get one, because his series kind of tanked. So I don't know if they're gonna do a season 2 with him. I would hope that they would, but maybe they want him to grow as a character throughout his series, so to speak. So maybe that's why they made him that weak compared to his comic book counterpart. So far, the only one that I think is on point is probably Daredevil. He's pretty much, he's nowhere near as good as a martial artist, but he's up there as far as comic book fighters and things like that, and he kicks ass in Netflix. So I would expect Iron Fist to be better than Daredevil in Netflix. Maybe not so in the comic books, but if Iron Fist is like, oh, you're this specific guy who's trained to be like a living weapon that's badass in like tons of forms of martial arts, then it's like, why isn't he as good as Daredevil? I mean, they didn't straight out fight, so we don't know, but it feels that way. It feels like Daredevil is a better fighter than Danny Rand, and to me that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Only because Stick trained, Matt Murdock or whatever, but there's nothing about Matt Murdock fighting wise where it's like, oh, okay, why is he so good and why is Danny Rand not? He has heart. I know Stick said that he's the most prodigious fighter I've ever seen or whatever, but that could mean a whole lot of things. He just has heart. Like it's hard to keep him down. So any fighter can have heart. So I don't know where they're going with that, but I just wish Danny Rand, they'd have showed him a little, being a little bit different. Like I mentioned in my last commentary video, I wish that they'd have had him doing some badass Iron Fist from the comic books type stuff, like dynamic drop kicks, flips, or something, something else to make him stand out other than Daredevil, because I think they both had the same fight choreographer. I don't know if that's the case, but they fight almost exactly the same, in Netflix. So I'm guessing they had the same person train them both on how to fight and things like that. So I just wish they had somebody different to make it, to make his fighting style distinct from, let's say, Daredevil's fighting style. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion. But anyways, fellas, it's getting on 30 minutes, and I said that this wasn't going to be as long as the last one, so definitely apologize for that, but it is what it is. But if you guys have anything to say about the Defenders show on Netflix, or where you think they're going to take the shows and everything, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to debate with you and talk maybe we can exchange ideas on where they think they're going to go, and then, maybe one of us can be wrong, so. But my name is Denonu, the man with the biggest and the most blackest privilege on YouTube, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.